Well, let's take this to the judge. Fox News senior judicial analyst, Judge Andrew Napolitano, was with us. After what happened last week, I mean, he just kept winning point after point after point. Finally, she starts crying, admitting she did all these things. But today's different.
Well, today's different. As to last week, sometimes that hyper-aggressive grilling, shouting at her, cutting her off mid-sentence can backfire in the face of a prosecutor. I don't think it did here, because the evidence of her guilt of something is overwhelming. The only question seems to be, did she plan and premeditate this? So is it first-degree murder, which would expose her to execution in Arizona, or is it second-degree murder, which is a long jail term, but at her age she'll have a life at the end of it? Today is a little different. Today is the effort of the defense counsel to try and rehabilitate her. Did he successfully do so? We might not know. But what will likely occur between now and your 7 o'clock show tonight is a very, very unique procedure in Arizona, Shep, whereby the jurors submit written questions to the judge. The judge reviews those questions with the lawyers without the jurors present during the time of the review, and then the judge reads the jurors' questions that she has approved to Ms. Arias, and she has to answer them.
Never heard of this. I've not covered a trial in Arizona. Lots of states, but not Arizona. Normally, there's direct examination,
right? Then
cross-examination,
right?
Then redirect,
right?
And then, which means the defense comes back on, which began today. And now you're telling me about this phase where the jury submits questions.
You know, the courts have resisted this for years because you don't know where it's going to go. You don't know how the juror who asked the question is going to react to the answer. You don't know if the question sort of tips the hands of the jurors as to what their thinking is, and whether counsel should change what they're going to do for the rest of the case in response to what they think the jury is thinking now. Sometimes I myself have seen juror questions. Sometimes they are terrific, and they simply ask something that you as the judge and the lawyers in the case didn't think of. Other times they're completely off the wall. They reveal way too much. It's a compound question that asks many questions at once, and you've got to narrow it down. Very, very interesting. Could be explosive. It could send the case decidedly in one direction or the other. We have to wait and see.
One thing that lawyers try to avoid is opening up new areas for discussion, especially the defense. You don't want to ask a question that allows the prosecution then to come back and say, well, you said this, now we can explore that area. Can a jury question do that or not?
Well, that's why the judge reviews these questions ahead of time, to make certain that those questions are not about new areas that would unnaturally and unusually extend the length of the case.
So we'll get to those questions presently.
I think we'll get to those questions within the next hour, and you'll probably have a field day with them on your next show
Well, I
tonight.
look forward to hearing what these jurors might be curious about at this point after 14 days of this woman on the stand and all that they've heard.
What could they not have heard after 14 days?
More than we can report here.
Yes.
Judge, thank you.
Pleasure.